Hi, my name is Andy Morris. I'm one of the nurse anesthetists here at UAB Highlands. Going to take a few minutes, a little QA back and forth to get to know anesthesiologist Chris Paul. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good.
Thanks.
Got some questions for you.
Okay, me too.
Yeah?
Okay.
All right,
let's
we'll
get
go for it,
started.
man.
All right. Was anesthesia your first career field?
No.
Okay.
No. The short answer is no.
Mhm.
My first career was, I actually did a little construction work
Cool.
that taught me to go to college.
Okay. Yeah.
And I originally went to nursing school I originally went to college to be an aerospace engineer.
Oh.
I did that for 2 years. Then did materials engineering for a short while after that. Then I decided to go be a nurse with the intention of going to anesthesia school. Graduated from nursing school, talked myself out of anesthesia school, did health informatics for a short while, then went back to anesthesia school.
Okay.
And that's why it took me forever.
It's a circuitous path.
It was a circuitous path.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you weren't in this line of work, what would you be doing?
I would probably be a race car driver.
Cool.
Believe it or not, that's what I would love to do.
Okay. NASCAR, Formula One? What are we talking about?
No, like endurance racing,
Oh, yeah.
GT,
Rally.
yeah, that kind of thing.
Very
Yeah,
cool.
You got to, the cars turn more than to the left.
Yeah, exactly.
Go the other way too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, what was your first job?
My first job was working at McDonald's. I did a little bit of everything. I
Yeah.
started out on fries. I did the grill. I did the cashier. I was even at one point an assistant manager. It was fun. I still joke around. It's my favorite job I've ever had.
Really?
Yeah. It was good times.
Yeah.
A lot of fun people and a lot of good life experiences.
Awesome. That's pretty cool. I've never worked in food service or anything like that. So
It's an experience.
I've heard it's an experience.
Yes.
Yeah. That's cool.
All right. So, what was your first car?
The first one that ran.
Okay. Let's go with that.
All right. Well, my first car was a 1976 Triumph TR7
Oh. Okay.
that my dad bought from a family member, and I spent more time under it than in it.
Not bad.
So that was a bad car for a 16-year-old. Traded that in for a Honda Civic. I had a 1988 Honda Civic was the first real car that I had.
Cool.
Yeah, and you learn at that time period of cars, the extra mirror over here on the right, the one that you're supposed to use to see behind you, was an option on that car
Okay.
that mine didn't have.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
How many states and countries have you lived in? And if it's been a bunch, what's your favorite?
Ooh. Okay. So I'm originally from Little Rock, Arkansas. I lived there until I was about 8 years old, and then my family moved to Texarkana. I lived on both the Arkansas and Texas side of Texarkana, but altogether we were in Texarkana for about 8 years. And then I moved to Dallas-Fort Worth, where I did high school and college, and so that was another 8 years. And I went back to Little Rock for 4 years for med school. And then I was 4 years in St. Louis. I came here for 2 years of fellowship, and then I went back to Arkansas for 3 years. And then I went to Atlanta for a year and got the heck out of there and came back home to UAB. My favorite place, honestly, I really enjoy Birmingham. But each city I lived in had little nice things about it. But I'm here. This is home. So.
I'm glad that was your question. My answer to that would be much more boring. I'm born and raised here in Birmingham, like within 20 miles of this spot.
Yeah, I would just, I just migrate from town to town, doing anesthesia from time to time. So, all right. Cool. All right. What was the last new thing that you learned how to do?
There was a science experiment that we did with my son. We homeschool my son, so I do get to do lots of cool science experiments at home because my wife lets me get to do the fun parts. Learned how to make an electromagnet. Right.
Cool.
Battery, wire, like a nail.
Mm-hmm.
Wrap the wire around the nail, hook it up to the battery, and it worked. Amazingly, it worked. So I learned how to do that.
That's
It's
really
not
cool.
very useful, but it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Can I see what this page is real quick? Sorry.
Yeah. This is real.
Okay. Yeah, it's very real. Okay. Back here now.
All right. What's the most adventurous thing you've ever done?
Back when I was younger, at 17, I went to Europe, did much train travel around Europe. Probably younger than I should have been doing that. Went to South America. Was there for 3 or 4 weeks and just kind of traveled around Paraguay and Brazil. That was interesting, but it was good times. So some interesting travel.
Yeah, there. Sounds like fun. I would love to do the trains around Europe sometime. That sounds like so much fun.
All right. So Elon calls you up. Would you go on a SpaceX trip if cost was not a factor?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
I grew up as a kid of the '80s. You know,
Yeah.
space shuttle and all that,
Yeah.
and being an astronaut was a fantasy. I would if they'd taken an old guy like me, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely do it in a heartbeat. It's cool. All right, what superpower would you choose for yourself? And give an example of how you might apply it here in your job.
Personally, I would want to fly, but I guess the only way I could really use it here is, flying between here and North Pavilion.
Yeah.
So this is about it.
Not very useful here.
Chris, I'm gonna need you to go over to North Pavilion.
Okay.
See you in 15 seconds.
I'm with you. I would have to fly. I think so.
Yeah. Okay, if you wrote a book about your career so far, what would you title it and why?
It's funny, I had a conversation kind of about this with one of my colleagues a while back, that if we were to write a book about our careers, we would entitle Stuff You Can't Make Up.
Yeah.
It would probably be a slightly less G-rated version of that title, but yeah, I mean, it's just like, in our line of work, we see so many things that makes you go, what?
Yeah, exactly.
There's just so much of it. You just can't make this up. Nobody would believe you if you told them it was the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would definitely be it. For sure. All right. What advice would you give to yourself if you could time travel back and talk to 15-year-old you? What would you say?
Buy Apple stock. I would start with that probably. But travel more, and just kind of do the things you want to do. But yeah, that's what we do. I tell myself to go travel. That's what we do.
That's good advice. Yeah, I probably would have told myself the same thing.
See the world.
Because I haven't gotten a good chance to see the world yet. Got to do it before I get old.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Man, I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.